This is day 3 of my vlog journey. So last night and this morning, I was doing a lot of reflection, and I am a bully, and my victim is myself. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of reflect on bullies and how we really destroy ourselves. So, there's a lot of talk about people being mean to other people. But this really starts with ourselves, because we validate what other people say. And if we believed in ourselves and we believed in our abilities and accepted ourselves and liked ourselves, loved ourselves, then other people, what they say, how they say it, wouldn't have as much impact on us. So this really resonates with me because as a kid, I didn't speak until, I was in elementary school, and I had to do a lot of speech therapy. Both my sister and I did. And teachers were often mean. My childhood was plagued with hearing negative things about my parents from other people. It was plagued with hearing negative things about myself, things that you don't have control over. So I was a skinny kid, but I had thighs that were genetically just like my grandmother's, and my loving family liked to point it out a lot that I had a butt and thighs, and they didn't. And now as an adult, I understand that that was an insecurity on their part, but it became an insecurity for myself, the fact that I had thighs and a butt. So at a very young age, I started disliking my body. And that was supported by statements such as, "You're a really beautiful girl, but you have a big butt. You're a really beautiful girl, but your thighs rub together, so they're too big. You're a really beautiful girl, but you'd look better if you didn't have hair here." And this is now, there's no hair there because I have plucked until the hair does not grow, right? So there's all these things that I heard about my body and my physical appearance, that I would be beautiful if ... fill in the blank, right? And it was other people's interpretation, because as a kid, a little kid, you don't realize that you're not perfect because you think you are, So I started not liking the body I was in. So then, as I got older, statements were even more harsh. Well, things such as, "You would be beautiful if your cheeks weren't so fat." But I've got really high cheekbones, and I've always had plumpy cheeks, even as a skinny kid. So I can remember in high school, I went through this phase where I just stopped eating and had bulimia. I would make myself throw up and try to get this imaginary perfect body. And It didn't work for me. Let's just say that. No matter how I tried, I always gained the weight back when I stopped. So, and then this foundation of disapproval of myself has followed me into my adult years. I became an overachiever. I started going to school just to go to school to prove that I was smart enough, that I was adequate enough. But it was always for somebody else. It wasn't for me. I just like being a support person for other people. But I started doing all these other things, which, don't get me wrong, I have learned a lot. I appreciate the values and the theories because they have helped me help other people. So I feel like I've put them to good use. But the person that I needed to help the most, I've had a really hard time doing that, and that's me. And I have this little voice in my head that when I'm in the middle of something or when something's uncomfortable, it will creep up and say, are you sure that you should be doing that? Because do you have enough education? Are you sure that you're making the right decision? Because do you really know the answer? When I try a new outfit on, even if I love it and I look great in it, I say to myself, I could probably look a little better, or it would look better if I didn't have such a big butt. So I don't wear dresses, not because I don't like to wear dresses. I don't wear dresses because I feel like my butt is huge. And I have weight on me, right? But I have a good figure. From my waist, it goes out and then tapers down. So I truly have an hourglass figure. And what's crazier is I have a body similar when I was younger, right? Had a body similar to the iconic Marilyn Monroe body, which would be voluptuous, but I hated it. And there's a part of me that still doesn't like it. So when I'm putting on my workout clothes and I'm heading to the gym, that little voice will say things like, oh, do you really think you should wear that? Isn't it a little too tight? Or, when I'm at the gym and I'm working out and there's big wall of mirrors. Yeah. So I'm out doing the elliptical, right? And I'm working it, and I'm sweating, and I don't like sweat, but I'm sweating, and I see the jiggle in my arms. I say, oh, who else notices that? Maybe you shouldn't be doing this workout because, you got some jiggle in your arm. So we bully ourselves. I bully myself. And this really seeps into other things, and it doesn't make me as compassionate and loving of others because I'm not as compassionate and loving for myself. And I think in my mind, I'm this compassionate and very loving person, and I do make attempts to really care for everyone else, but there's limits on what you can do for others when you don't accept and love yourself. Yeah. So, how do you stop? Right? I think that's the $1 million question, and I don't have all the answers, but I know that for me, I'm in the helping myself phase. So what I've started to do over the last couple of years is when that voice creeps in, or sometimes when it rages in, right, and starts roaring, I just have to take a really deep breath and I have to put it in perspective, right? So what this means to me is I take a step back and I usually have to write it out. And then I have to take the time to write the situation out. What I was doing in relation to whatever anybody else was doing, or where I was, what else was going on, what happened before, what happened after, what happened in the morning, what happened, leading up to that type of situation. And then I can go back and see exactly what elements triggered that particular voice going off. And so from that, I take that statement and the feelings that are associated with that statement, and I write a new statement. So for instance, if I was at the store and I was buying a new pair of jeans and I tried those jeans on, and that voice said, "Oh, they would look good if you had lost, if you were down like 20 pounds, right?" I would write what led up, what happened that morning, and then I would write the voice right in my head. "Oh, you would look good in those jeans if," voice. And then I would come back to it later and write something to correct it. Something along the lines of, "Wow, you look great in those jeans right now. They feel great. They look great. And then I would say it to myself right then and there. In a mirror. I always go and try to find a mirror. And I say it to myself. "You look great. They feel great. You look great. You're great right now. Right now." And then I take the time to write the feelings that I feel when I say those things to myself. "You look great right now. You feel great right now." No matter what the situation. And it's crazy, but I actually feel better when I do that. So I have tried to kind of weave that throughout my daily happenings. And it does help. It makes me stop and appreciate things. It makes me more grateful. I have more gratitude and I appreciate things more. So today was all about self-bullying, which is a big problem, very big problem, especially with the amount of social media and the ideas that we pull from commercials and what we're told is, norm. But really, what's normal? I think there really isn't any normal. They're just averages. So, and I think we have to question those more times than not. So that's my thoughts on self-bullying and my disclosure about I myself am a bully. And at the same time, I am also the victim of my own bullying. And I know that this is going to be a subject that I come back and talk about more on because it's been with me practically all of my life. I think I have spent more time abusing myself than I have loving myself. And it's time to change that. Yeah.